Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to the home offices of APC. I'm John Rayhorse, and I'm here with my good friend and business partner, Mike Paradise. You know, we've been sending mailers out for the last couple of months, and we're going to send some more out going forward. And what we're going to do is we're going to provide some vignettes, samples of our training, so that you get a feel for what we talk about here at APC. You know, the P in APC stands for process. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about what we feel is the most important step in the sales process of the 21st century. Now, if you take a look over here, you can see that we're on our second take because I've already made a big black marker on it. All right, but we talk about our first step, which is the same in every sales process, which is the meet and greet. Now, we're going to talk about a transparency meet and greet a little bit later on, but what we really want to talk about today is we want to talk about the pre-appraisal. After the meet and greet, we're going to do something called a pre-appraisal. I'm going to get into that in a couple of seconds. After the pre-appraisal, what we're going to do is we're going to do the product selection. We're going to do a walk around in the vehicle, all right? We're also going to do a demo and a trial close, just as if we have in the past. But if you notice over here, if we do the pre-appraisal properly, and we have our customers' time and the amount of time that they're spending in the dealership in mind, all right, we can, at parallel, do the real appraisal with our used car buyer or used car manager at the same time. Now, why is that important? I'm going to talk about 5 bullet points that we feel that are extremely important when determining whether or not you should do a pre-appraisal or whether it should be more than just an option for our salespeople in our dealership. Now, if you notice the percentages, I'm going to deal with the majority. I don't want to get in the minutiae as to whether or not the Automotive News says it's 84% or whether the Consumer Magazine says it's 74%. One of the things that Mike and I subscribe to is if it's more than 50%, it's something that we should pay attention to. First thing that we know, 50% of our customers prior to coming into the dealership spend some time on the internet doing research on the vehicle that they're interested in. As a matter of fact, they come in and very often they're 4 miles deep and 4 inches wide. They'll know more about the programs of the vehicle than our salespeople will know. Now, that's not to be disparaging to the customer or the salespeople. That's just saying that customers have just an enormous amount of information when they get on the internet that they can sift through. Now, that means that our salespeople need to be prepared to answer what's true and what's not true, because as we know, all right, not everything online is the truth. Number 2, 50% of our customers, when they come into the dealership, have a specific vehicle in mind. As a matter of fact, if your dealership subscribes to putting specifics about the vehicle, all right, that aren't stock from the manufacturer, and you have what's called a VDP or a vehicle display page, the likelihood that the customer is going to come in with a specific stock number skyrockets. Number 3, customers want to get in and out of the dealership in 90 minutes. That means from the moment I shake your hand to have a nice day, see you in 2 years or 5 years, depending on whether or not you subscribe to the halftime show, all right? We know that they want to get in, meet and greet, to thank you very much to the F&I person in 90 minutes. Now think about that. In some dealerships, it still takes 90 minutes in the F&I office. So how do we expedite that? How do we have our customers' time constraints in mind? Now, the other thing that we want you to know, and based on what we've learned from our good friend Don Griffin over at Kaiser Ford, is not only do people want to get in, but the millennials, the code that we're trying to crack, the generation that's becoming a much larger percentage of our car buying sample really is cognizant of time, all right? They're not so much interested in building relationships. They're not so much interested in gathering stuff. They're more interested in the experience and knowing that we have a plan for them when they come walking in, all right? 4th thing, we want to be able to gather information about the customer's vehicle, all right? We know that more than 50% of the people, when coming in to replace an old vehicle, are going to take a look at the same type of vehicle. So we want to gather as much information as we possibly can. One of the biggest reasons is that because so many people, or because of the internet right now, our competitors, right, let's be honest, all right, they put prices on the internet where there's not a lot of wiggle room. What's the one thing that's still somewhat subjective? The value of their trade, all right? And in order for us to be able to have an intelligent conversation with our customers about the value of the trade, wouldn't it make sense for us to stand next to it, take a look at it at the same time? You know what? Maybe even take it for a ride together to see how it rides, all right? And the last thing is that the pre-appraisal takes 3 steps and puts them into one. Now, first thing it does is we used to talk about the actual step was building rapport with the customer, right? What better way to find something out about somebody but to stand next to the third most expensive thing in most people's lives? The first one being their family, the second one being their home, and the third one being their car. We can walk around where we see bumper stickers, what they have in their trunk, how they take care of the vehicle. We learn a lot, all right? We want to be able to build, not necessarily a friendship, but we'd be able to build a little rapport, find a little bit of commonality. What's the other thing that we might find out? We might find out what kind of damage is done to their vehicle. You know, at the end of the day, we're going to have to justify the value that our used car appraiser puts on the vehicle. How are we going to be able to do that? By taking a look at anything that may be out of the ordinary on their vehicle. Because as we know, when people, to quote my friend Vince Vaughn, get on the line, all right, very often they don't always rate their car what their car actually is. As a matter of fact, we've got a lot of average vehicles out there that people think are excellent. How are we going to be able to help with that? Taking a look at their vehicle prior to sitting down and talking to them about it. And the last thing is, before we replace anything of value, before I can sell you anything of value, and I'm going to replace it, what are 3 of the best things that I can know about your previous vehicle? 1, all right, what did you love about the vehicle? All right, Mike, let me ask you a question. If you could tell me 3 things that you absolutely love about this vehicle that you need to have on your next one, what would they be? All right. 2, what didn't you like about the vehicle? Mike, let me ask you this. You know what? Before we go out and take a look at your new vehicle, give me 3 things that you may have on this vehicle that you wouldn't want on it the next time around. And the last thing is, Mike, let me ask you a question. You said I had about 2 years worth of payments on your vehicle, but how much do you owe?
About $10,000.
About $10,000, so your payments are somewhere in the neighborhood of $425, $450.
Yeah, right in that area, right.
Okay, super. Now what did I just find out? I found out a budget. You know, how often do we go out and take a look at a vehicle that might be a little bit too much, or maybe not enough, when we go out and we take a look at what the customer wants? All right, so let's get back to the pre-appraisal and how important it is. We want to make sure that we hit this 90-minute time. We want to make sure that we're cognizant of our customers' time constraints. You know what? People throw the word around customer-centric in today's day and age all the time. But are they really customer-centric? Are they really worried about the experience? Or is it still our agenda? All right? We want to put ourselves on the customer's agenda. So how do we find out about that? Stand next to their car, ask them a bunch of questions, gather all the information that you want, because I'm going to throw this last thing out. How often, as a sales manager, do you walk in, sit down with your salesperson's customer, you ask them a bunch of questions, and as you're walking back to your office in order to try to put the deal together, the only thing you can say in your mind is, you know what? He didn't listen to a word the customer said. All right? And I did specifically use the word he, because most men don't listen to what's going on. All right? Now, how important is a pre-appraisal? It's for you to find out. You know what, if you're interested in talking to us about maybe coming in and tweaking your sales process a little bit, our name and number are going to be right down here. Have a great day. We'll see you next week.